I'm Heather from here, booktubes, and today is Romance Tropes Part 1. This is specifically for Bree from the Locked Booktician. This is a video that she asked me to do. I will do Part 2 and a subgenre breakdown in May, but for right now, you're getting tropes. I already did catchphrases, so I'll link that. Catchphrases, buzzwords, a lot of the lingo that is used in Romancelandia. So these are tropes. A lot of these I feel like are pretty self-explanatory, but quite a few people said that they too would like for the tropes to be broken down for them. And so this is part 1. These are some that are off the top of my head. So that's what we're going to do today. The first one is morality chain. So morality chain is where you have one person doing good things because of another person. So for instance, perhaps the love interest really wants to kill this one person, but it would make the main character sad. So the love interest is not going to kill that person, not because they have any issue with killing that person or don't want to kill that person or feel like it would be morally wrong. They're just not going to kill that person because it would make the person that they love sad. That's it. That's the only reason why they're not going to kill this person over here. That's a morality chain. They're doing good because it makes somebody else happy, not because they personally feel like they should. Next one is age gap. So age gap for me is basically any age difference of 10 years or more. There is no such thing as reverse age gap. That's honestly kind of misogynistic. It doesn't matter which person in the relationship is older. It is an age gap for me personally if it's 10 plus years. I definitely do prefer for my age gaps to not be with 18-year-olds or 20-year-olds. I definitely prefer for it to be older, but people who call like a 2-year age difference age gaps are being ridiculous in my opinion. Then you have Grumpy Sunshine. Again, pretty self-explanatory, but also there is no reverse Grumpy Sunshine. A lot of times when people are doing recommendations for Grumpy Sunshine, they mean that the hero is a grump or broody or maybe even just quiet. And then the heroine is sunshiny and bubbly and happy and smiley. But the reverse is still Grumpy Sunshine. It doesn't matter your gender of the character who is one or the other. You don't label it as opposite, okay? A lot of times you will have cinnamon roll heroes who again are the soft sweet heroes with prickly heroines. A lot of times you can have that, but Grumpy Sunshine is opposites attract. One is friendly and smiley and one is broody and taciturn. Then you have fake dating, which is where they are mutually both agreeing to fake it for a specific reason and they are just pretending to date. You can also fake be fiancéed. Then you have marriage of convenience. This is where you are legally married and you are married on purpose together for a benefit for both of you. So you both wanted it, willingly entered into it because you were both getting something out of it, but you both know that there's no feelings there. This can be something where you're faking feelings or not. It kind of depends on the specific book. Then you have arranged marriage. This is where other parties, like your parents or the king, forced you into the marriage. They said you are going to marry them. It was not a choice that you willingly made on your own, feelings or no. It was something that other people decided for you. A lot of times with arranged marriages, they have never met or know nothing about each other. Then you have marriage in crisis. This is the same thing as an established couple, but it's marriage specific, and it's where you have a couple, they have been together for a long time. You did not see them get together on page, but you are now entering the storyline at a point where they are having relationship problems and are looking to separate. Whether that is because they have actually filed for separation or filed for divorce or because they're just no longer happy and it's clear that that's where it's going. It doesn't matter. It all falls under marriage in crisis. Then you have hate to love. This is really the feelings. So there should be some actual literal hate involved. You also have enemies to lovers, which in my opinion is not really quite the same thing as hate to love, because enemies to lovers indicates that you both were actively fighting against each other or on opposite sides of some sort of conflict and now are together, often through an arranged marriage. You also have my personal favorite progression, which is hate to lust to respect to love. You can also have Hate to friends to lovers, that's a very popular one, although I personally prefer the lust to come in before the respect because I like those dynamics. Also, hate to love, oftentimes the recommendations for it will be one person hates the other person has no idea that they hate them. So that can also be a thing. That'd be more one-sided. You have friends to lovers. Friends to lovers is any type of friendship. You can also have it more specifically childhood friends to lovers, which is a lot of times what people think when they hear friends to lovers, but it's not necessarily true. They can have met and have been friends as adults and just progressed to a romantic relationship. There's another version of this, which is childhood friends to enemies to lovers. That's a very popular one as well. A lot of times you will see estranged childhood best friends to lovers where they were so incredibly close and now they haven't talked in years, and all of a sudden they're back in each other's lives, either because one person needs something or because they both came back to their hometown, whatever it is, and they have to work through those messy feelings of you were everything to me and you left, or you stopped talking to me, or you betrayed me, and then falling in love. Next, there is second chance romance, as the name would suggest. This is any time where they did have a relationship before or a near relationship before. So maybe they were falling for each other, but they never actually kissed, never actually confessed their love, were never actually a couple, but it definitely can be someone who was a couple, even if it can even be people who were married or together for years and years and years, or it can be we were college boyfriend, girlfriend, now we're 30-something professionals, right? But second chance is you had a relationship before or a near relationship before, and now you get the second chance to actually make it work with the person who's right for you in a timing that is also right for you. Next, I have surprise baby. Surprise baby is where you were not intentionally planning on getting pregnant and then a pregnancy occurs. And also this does usually indicate that there's no abortion, that they have the baby, and that becoming a parent is part of the storyline. You also have secret baby. This is where the love interest and the main character that are going to be the focus of the book make a baby together, but usually the dad, right, is unaware that the baby was ever conceived. Oh, this can be very messy. And honestly, this can range. I don't mind this so much when the reason was really, really good, or like they had no way to contact them or any of those things. But when they just kind of maliciously hid the fact that they were a parent from them, I don't like that. Then you have seduce to kill. This is such a good one, especially in fantasy or mafia or any of those things. But it's where you are specifically trying to get them to fall in love with you, or at least fall in lust with you, because you're trying to get close enough to take them down. And when it's done well, it's done so well. Then there is secret identity. This is where you know that you're the long lost heir, but they don't know, or you know that you're really their brother's best friend, but they don't know. There can also be mistaken identity. So I thought you were my blind date, and it turns out you were lying the whole time. There are multiple ways that these can happen. Then virgin, again, self-explanatory, but this can be the main character or the love interest or both. I kind of prefer for it to be both or neither, although obviously if you're going to read romance, you're going to read some where one is vastly more experienced than the other. That's just kind of part of the genre. Then you have best friend's sibling. So your best friend has a brother and you're going to date the brother. You can also have siblings best friend, so your brother has a best friend and you're going to date the best friend, right? Does that make sense? There's also siblings X or best friends X, which can be very messy. One thing that I don't particularly like about brother's best friend specifically, not so much sister or sibling, but brother's best friend is a lot of times you have this toxic masculinity of the brother being like, no, don't touch my sister, and having a huge fight with his best friend when he finds out that he's in love with his sister when the sister is an adult. You're not talking about a 14-year-old underage girl and you righteously want to kill him for what he did. No, you're talking about an adult who is capable of making their own decisions and definitely capable of choosing their own partner for life, and you're mad at your friend for breaking bro code, when in reality, she's her own person, and I don't like it when you lose your mind over it. Then you have single parents. Again, it doesn't matter which parent it is. A lot of times this can play out in a fun way with the nanny or with the child's school teacher or somebody who is in the child's life and then ends up falling in love with the parent. But it doesn't have to be at all. This can be done really well or it can be done really poorly because there has to be a balance of how much you have the child in the book, and also how realistic that child's conversation and behaviors are for a child of that age. And a lot of authors get this wrong. And lastly for today, you have forced proximity. This means that the two of you, due to circumstances outside of your control, are forced to be in each other's space on a regular basis or for a prolonged period of time. So this can be you are both stuck on a boat together or in a cabin together, or it can be on a road trip, or it can be you work together, you see each other every day, or you're in the same friend group, you see each other at all of your social events. Whether you're trying to avoid each other or not, you are often forced into the same location together, and that continued exposure to each other is what kind of makes the rough edges fall off, and you finally can come together in a way where you're like, oh, maybe they're not the worst person in the world, or maybe I'm actually interested in them, even though I didn't have anything against them, just now I'm noticing all the good things about them. So that's it. Those are my tropes part 1. Feel free to put any that you'd like explanations for in the comments, or if you have ones that you really want to see me do, or ones that you just want to talk about in the comments, please feel free to let me know if this was helpful. If you're watching this in April 2022 when I post it, again, the other things are coming in May. If you're watching after that, they're already out. So there you go. I hope it was helpful. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.